We can't have two classes of citizens, people who can afford the right to vote and people who can't.
What is Amendment 4 and who does it apply to?
It's a constitutional amendment that Floridians passed in 2018 to restore the right to vote to people who have been convicted of a felony offense, excluding murder or rape. The idea was to help people transition back into our communities after they've completed their incarceration or probation. It makes them less likely to reoffend and more likely to participate in our democracy.
Before Amendment 4, what steps would someone have to take to restore their right to vote?
You had to apply to a clemency board. It could take years and you still weren't guaranteed to have success.
What challenges have you identified with the implementation of Amendment 4?
After voters passed Amendment 4, the legislature ended up passing a law, but didn't do anything to help with its implementation. There were so many questions left outstanding. Do I have to pay off all my fines and fees? How do I figure out how much I owe? What happens if I can't afford to pay those fees?
A federal judge recently ruled that if you were otherwise eligible to vote, but could not afford your outstanding court costs, that you couldn't be prohibited from voting. What's the significance of that?
We can't have two classes of citizens, people who can afford the right to vote and people who can't. The judge's order basically said that there's going to be no wealth-based voter discrimination. At the end of the day, the judge's order helps us fulfill the promise of Amendment 4 by restoring the right to vote in a way that doesn't depend on how much money someone has in their pocket.
Because there's no clear statewide process, you created a process right here in Hillsborough County to restore the right to vote to returning citizens. What does that process look like?
Our goal was judicial oversight. If you think you're eligible to vote under Amendment 4, you fill out an application, you come into court, a judge makes the determination whether you can't afford to pay off the fines and fees that you owe. That way we have certainty for people who are seeking the right to vote back. It's our way of fulfilling the promise of Amendment 4 for people right here in Hillsborough County.